Our first education session for today is with Chef Srijaenthi Natraj from our content development team here at the ICCA. Chef Sri's journey in the professional world of cookery began when she was just 16 years old, and she joined ICCA over 10 years ago while she was yet in school. She has traveled far since then, continuing her education at the Culinary Institute of America in Singapore. Since coming back to Dubai, she has worked at Jean Georges and at the Dusatani before joining our content development team here at the ICCA in the midst of COVID last year. Today, she has chosen a very special topic in the series, The Classics, the Contemporary Way, where she will demonstrate a classic consomme served elegantly, a dish that helped her win a medal in the Young Chefs Olympiad recently. Over to you, Shri, before I steal all your lines.
Thank you, Ms. Shanaz. Welcome to all the viewers from all over the world. So today I'm going to be talking about chicken consomme. Before that, let me introduce my assistant for the day. This is Zara, and she's a recent alumni. By recent, I mean super recent. Just 4 days ago, she has graduated from the course here. And thank you for assisting me today. Yeah. So what is a consomme? I think most people out here already know. It's a clarified stock with the deep, intense flavor. So what can a consomme be made out of? It can be made out of literally any stock. It can be a beef stock, a veal stock, a chicken stock, or even a vegetable stock. You have a stock, you name it, it can be made into a consomme. Now, chicken stocks are great and chicken consommes are great, but there's always the view that a chicken consomme is good, but it's no beef consomme. That's true. Yes, we do agree that beef does taste better than chicken, but a really strong base stock can help you create an amazing chicken consomme. So how do you create this amazing base chicken stock? I would feel that you can roast your chicken bones and make sure that the flavor of the bones are intensified and then make your chicken stock. Consomme has its garnishes, right? Because consomme has two components, the soup and the garnish. The garnishes can be from easy to complex. Easy ones include consomme brunoise, consomme julienne. As the name suggests, pretty simple. Brunoise vegetables of the same mirepoix that you're using in your consomme. Complex ones, of course, include consomme celestine. Consomme celestine are pinwheels of crepes within your soup. Consomme Colbert, which is a poached egg with your consomme. Consomme Princess, which is a poached quenelle of chicken, minced chicken. It's a nice nod to how the consomme is actually made. It's with minced chicken and egg whites that we clarify our soup. So that particular garnish is a nice nod, of course, to how it has been made. Today, of course, we're making consomme royale, which is an egg custard garnish. So let's get started with our consomme. Here we have our ingredients for our clarification process. This is my chicken mince, my mirepoix, which is my carrots, onions, celery, and leeks. So we're going to mince them together. So I'm going to get my minced chicken. My carrots. Thank you. My onions. Celery. My leeks. Okay. Thank you. So now I'm going to mince this together. You get a highest clarity in your consomme when all your products within it is well minced. So I'm going to do that. This RoboCoo is extremely powerful, and interestingly enough, it's also a thermocook. So I can even cook within this. That's not what I want to do today because I need my chicken mince to be cold, but you can cook also in this thermocook. So while this is mincing, I'm going to whip up my egg whites. This egg whites is what is going to help me clarify my stock. Okay, I can see Bubbles, that's good. Now let's check on our minced chicken. Yeah, looks good, well minced. So I'm going to take it off. Could I get a spatula, small spatula? I'm going to add this chicken mince mixture with the minced mirepoix to my egg whites. Not the most glamorous thing to see, but of course, this is what's going to help us clarify our consommé and get that rich, golden, clear soup. As I was talking about earlier, how the importance of making a good brown chicken stock is, it's also important to season every single layer. So even though this is only for the clarification, this does involve improvement of flavor. So you have to season even this chicken mix with salt and pepper. Okay, so now I'm going to mix it together until it's into one homogeneous mixture. And we're good. Now we're going to move to the stove. Here, as you can see, the condensation on the sides of my pot, the chicken stock is very cold. So the point of a consommé is to start from a cold stock. We do this because we do not want the egg whites to coagulate immediately. We need them to coagulate at a steady rate. Thank you. At a steady rate so that it actually catches the impurities. Let me change my gloves. Could I have my whisk back? Yeah. So now I will keep stirring my chicken mince, egg whites, and my chicken stock until it reaches 63 degrees. 63 degrees, why? Because that's when egg whites coagulate. But once it does start to coagulate, the coagulation temperature, we cannot stir any further because we cannot disrupt what we call a raft. This raft is what is going to help us clarify our consommé. Okay, so, okay, let me switch on my thermometer. So we have to keep stirring until it reaches 63. As of now, it is at 20.3. So we need to wait until 63. Chicken consommé is a long and arduous process, but rewards are amazing because of the mesmerizing golden soup that you'll see at the end of the day. As I said before, my chicken stock was extremely cold. So even though my induction is at 5 and 6, it's still only at 20, but we're going to wait for the egg whites to coagulate before we stop stirring. Once we do reach 63, of course, we will add a bouquet garni. A bouquet garni, very simple, leeks, thyme, parsley, bay leaf, and peppercorns, just for that added flavor. Okay, it's rising. 28, 29, yes. Sarah, maybe you can take over with this. Yeah. Now, let's move on to our garnish. Our garnish for today, as I mentioned before, is consommé royale, right? So we're doing an egg custard. To make our egg custard, fairly simple recipe. 1 egg. It's a good idea to beat your egg with a fork rather than a whisk, because in a custard so delicate, we would like not many air bubbles. Then we add in our cream. About 150 mils. Now, of course, seasoning every layer is important. So we have to add our salt. This particular custard, I want to leave fairly simple, not very complicated, but of course, this custard can be flavored with anything. You can add a little nutmeg and even some truffle oil. The truffle oil is what I added for my competition, and it did go well, but today I want to keep it simple. Okay, so now I can see that my egg custard is a homogeneous mixture, a light yellow, a rich yellow. So let me get my tray. So as everyone knows, a custard is basically an egg that is set well within a bain-marie setup. So here I have my tray, which has a little bit of a depth. So I'm going to add water here, and then I'm going to pour in my custard. Zara, where are we at with the temperature?
We're at 47.
Okay, almost there. So we should make sure not to overfill these, because of course that wouldn't look nice in our consomme. So 59, okay, we're almost there. If you could get a shot of the actual consomme, you can see that the egg whites are slowly coagulating and setting. It looks much different from when I was starting it. Okay. Now it's 63. Okay, let's stop stirring. Okay. And let it do its thing. Okay. So this is our custard mixture, and I'm going to add some water in here. And in set custards, it's important to cover it with aluminum foil, because these custards are so small, they have bubbles that form like a skin on top, which we don't really want. And we call it, sometimes we call it Swiss cheese, and that's not the texture we're trying to achieve. Now the water, we need to add almost half of the custard, but of course, because of time constraints, I do have a version ready, but we're going to send this off to the oven. Once it is fully steam baked and set well, it is important to completely freeze and chill the product, because only then it will form into a smooth surface. Now, my consomme, I can see that my raft is slowly forming. Can we have, yeah, we can see that the raft is slowly forming, and there are only small bubbles on the edges. That's how a consomme is supposed to boil. It's not supposed to have this rapid boil, which practically breaks our consomme. So it just has the slight boil on the edges and the slight boil on the side, but the major part of the raft is intact. Now, to further improve the color, I will burn the onion. So why do we do this? One, it improves color. Second, it does improve the taste itself, because it creates that extra layer of depth and flavor. So we're going to heat this pan up as fast as possible, and we're going to burn it in this pan. The onion, of course, the halved onion can be burnt or bruleed in the salamander, or even just on a plancha on the grill. So we're waiting for this pan to get super, super hot. Our consomme is boiling at a slow rate, which is a good thing. And we're just waiting for our pan to heat up. Here, we're going to, can you hear that? That's a hot pan. So that's how we're going to burn our onions. So you're going to press it down so that most of the surface area touches the pan, and it's going to burn it well. I know the induction is on 2, but the consomme I can see is boiling too fast. That means I need to reduce the heat. But of course, the raft formed well, so it's still intact here. Thank you. Could you get me the spatula? Let's check if our onion is well burnt already. Yeah, it is, as you can see. As you can see, but I'd like to burn it slightly more for a lovely color. Let's check the other side. Yes, it's getting there. So I want all the edges to be nice and brown, close to almost a really dark brown. Okay. Yep, this is what I want. This is the color I want. So I'm going to place it gently, or not so gently, into my consomme, into a part that's not broken. Okay, this time more carefully. There we go. Okay, so thank you. Yeah. So now we let this consomme simmer for a further 45 to 60 minutes. Now we can get ready with our garnishes. So we'd like to cut for a short little break and join us back. Welcome back. So in the quick 1.5 minutes that we were away, I got my consomme ready. No, just kidding. I had a consomme ready from before. As you can see, after doing the proper process of clarification, I have a close to nearly no fat consomme. Can you see that golden color? Yeah. So this process, after this process of clarifying, we strain it in a muslin cloth with a fine mesh chinois. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, a fine mesh chinois. And then we have it at this stage. This particular consomme, which is already done, is already seasoned and ready to go. Now, as I start my plating, I'd like to increase the flavor of thyme for the flavor profile in the mouth. So I'd like to add some thyme sprigs and give it one last boil. So we're going to allow that to boil. And once that's boiling, I'm going to start my plating. So for our garnish, we have sliced mushrooms, bruleed pearl shallots, some thyme, carrots, zucchini, and of course, some micro herbs. Now let's start the plating. So for my competition, I had chosen to do mushrooms at the bottom because it matches the truffle in the custard. Today, since I'm not using custard, I'm not using the truffle in my custard, I still thought the mushrooms gave it a really beautiful look because it looked like a flower at the base of the custard. That's why I'm going to continue going with that. Now, with my egg custard, This is the one that's already pre-made, the egg custard. So I'm going to just take one piece. Yes. And then let it heat up a little bit in my consomme. Yes. Yes. Sarah, maybe can you give me a tray? I have a tray. Yep, there. I'm just going to keep it here. And it's not Dubai if we don't have gold. So let me add my gold leaf on top of my custard. Prized possession in the kitchen. So let me do this as best I can. Yeah, that covered most of it. We remove the excess. So the gold coated spoon bringing down my custard. Okay. I'll just wipe and wash my tweezers. Now we can continue with the rest. So let's go with our zucchini swirls. Carrot swirls. Oh. One more zucchini maybe. We're there. Why should everything be inside? Okay, like that. My bruleed shallot. Of course, my micro herbs. Micro herbs, of course, is not just a non-functional garnish. It has a peppery taste that does affect flavor. It's not just for the color component. Let me find a good bunch here to pick up and put on. Yep. Now, of course, since we reboiled it with some thyme leaves, I'm going to add some fresh thyme as well, here and there, just to reinstate that that's the main flavor of my consomme. Now I can see my consomme is boiling rapidly, and I can see the flavor of thyme has come perfectly through. Now, yes, now I'm going to put it in my jug, serving jug, or the jug that helps me pour it into my serving jug. You can remove these. So this is the moment of truth. Is it a clear consomme? Yes, it is. So there you have it, a clear golden chicken consomme with an egg custard royale. I like to serve, and I think most chefs like to serve their consomme in a jug and the garnish on the side. I think the reasoning behind this is that the consomme remains hot as far as possible, because the surface area here to lose the heat is less, while the surface area here, you lose heat faster. Also, the garnish looks very pretty before the soup comes and pushes things around. So at least the guest can have a chance to see their garnish as to how the chef wanted to view it, and they can pour it. So now I'm going to pour it. A lovely golden consomme. Ms. Shanaz, do we have any questions?
Just a moment, Shri, I will come side by side. That was amazing. Truly a contemporary presentation of a classic. A very nice start to a heavy meal. Shri, I'd just like to ask you, I was observing those little swirls of zucchini and carrot that you had. did you blanch them, or do you expect them to sort of get blanched in the heat of the consomme?
Okay, so the carrot and zucchini swirls, I had blanched before in my pre-prepared consomme so that the flavor of the consomme enters my swirls. But the mushroom slices are sliced so thin that when a hot consomme is poured over, it cooks the mushrooms before you eat it.
Very nice. And because we have a little bit of time, we finished a little bit ahead of time, I'd like you to list out once again reiterate the garnishes and their names, because I think these are things that every culinary student should know about.
Yes. So consomme, as I explained before, are of easy to complex garnishes. Easy garnishes include consomme brunoise, consomme julienne. So as the name suggests, very simple, brunoise vegetables, and the vegetables are that of the mirepoix. And the complex garnishes include consomme celestine, which is a pinwheel of a crepe made from beforehand, and consomme princess, which is the quenelles of chicken mince, which is a nice nod to how the consomme was made. And of course, another consomme royale, our egg custard, and consomme colbert, which is a poached egg garnish for your consomme.
And a consomme royale Dubai with a custard with gold on it. Don't forget the gold. And Zara, are you inspired to learn cookery now? I know you're an accomplished pastry chef.
But of course, Zara is also someone who's already been in cookery. But so
this inspires me to be better.
Thank you very much, Sri. That was absolutely riveting to watch on the large screen outside. I've been actually standing outside and watching you. I came back to my chair just to end the show with you. Thank you very much. You have a lot of people watching you and enjoying what you're doing. And
thank you.